We are back, ladies and gentlemen. 2023 was kind to the rebellion. We reached some milestones, 2K subs on YouTube in our first year. I would say we created a buzz in the competitive community with some folks, especially in our Discord, of even pushing right now to become guild mages. And hopefully we'll hear from some of them soon enough. But the big highlight was getting to meet up in Atlanta at DreamHack. We watched Darth Rictus take Boris Convoke and Pioneer to a winning record in the Pioneer RCQ after making it through the last chance qualifier on day one. Uh, you know, it's really no secret. Magic is often stigmatized as having a very niche sort of community, one that historically doesn't accept outsiders right away. But in recent times, I would say that's a bit different. I would say that in my experience, the community really does embrace those who have a passion for the game, regardless of your background or origin. I genuinely believe grand events like DreamHack are healthy for the community. Really because all sorts can get together, celebrate different games under one roof. And I think that actually brings visibility to greater parts of nerddom, really, for Magic the Gathering. So I think it's a positive development. They have these big events. Nevertheless, today I want to go over our experiences from DreamHack the last month. Perhaps discuss the overall trajectory of Paper MTG as we enter a year where Wizards has promised a resurgence in support for local play. I'm your host, Max Damage. This is the Rebelcast, episode 31, the first of 2024. Let's get into it. I'm here today, two of my teammates, the lovable Griffin Rider and the mastermind Darth Rictus. Guys, I had a great time getting to hang out with y'all at DreamHack. Griff here has, in particular, has decided to dedicate some time recently to Paper Magic, really getting back into it and so to speak, getting fit for competitive play. Thank you for coming on, Griff. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I can already feel it's gonna be a great year. Great year for us, great year for Magic. I'm really looking forward to it. Overall though, it's it's a completely different animal when you get to sit down and play Paper Magic across from somebody. You lose that anonymity that you get with Arena, or you kind of get with Spell Table, or you get with MTGO. You have to sit down across from somebody and tell them, I'm about to ruin your day. Good luck.
Good experience, though. I truly believe it. We also have my partner on the Stay of the Meta weekly video series, Darth Rictus, here with us today. How are you, sir? How does it feel to be back?
Oh my God. Feels great to be back. I loved Atlanta minus the driving. That was terrifying on every level.
You're telling me.
Right. DreamHack, on the other hand, it was surreal. It's one of my favorite weekends from 2023. All of us getting to meet up, compete, work together as a team, try to push all of us through those last chance qualifiers into the main events, and then round by round, all that love, all that support. It was amazing. I can't wait to do it again. I'm hoping that sometime during 2024, all of us are going to get to do the exact same thing, possibly run it back in Atlanta. And I'm hoping next time I get to do a little bit more cheerleading, and we'll get you, Griff, Dabo, everybody into the main event this time is my hope.
Oh my God, that would be so awesome to just have all of us qualify for something. That's the ultimate goal, really, I think. I know for a fact I had a great time at DreamHack, getting the opportunity to stream live actually, and hopefully I'll be able to put that video up soon. I think we're gonna make it a members only kind of thing from the way we were talking about it today. So be on the lookout for that. I actually loved using the shotgun mic. They had a whole bunch of like equipment setups. And like the price tags were still on there, letting us know like who the company was that made the stuff. And it was like the Logitech shotgun mic or whatever. The Beacon, I think it was called. I didn't expect much from any of the equipment there because I have my own setup at home that I'm very proud of. But like that shotgun mic was really cool considering how loud the hall was around me and how very little of that actually got into the stream when I look back at the VOD. That was a pretty cool little mic. But anyway, I want to get to the real reason we're here today. Namely, what it was like to compete, play at a huge event like this, especially one that mixed esports, gaming, tabletop games together under one roof. Me and ICPJs, in fact, who, if audience, if you haven't gotten the pleasure of meeting, we do have a short interview with her on the last episode 30, so go check that out. There should be a link to that. We were actually able to walk around and enjoy the sights. ICPJs in particular got to play Dance Dance Revolution, compete with other people at Katamari Damacy for some money. It was pretty exciting to watch, or go back and keep trying to beat our own high score. Uh, but we were able to do that whenever we wanted to, kind of walk away from the MTG section. We were able to do that. It kind of felt like cheating a little bit, because I was really there for MTG and for supporting the team. But overall, the whole convention to me was very fun. But I want to ask you guys, what were some of your takeaways and impressions from doing a mixed event like this? I want to start with Griffin Rider. How did you feel about that?
It was absolutely wild. Like, I have not been in an environment in that in a very long time. Anybody who was around me heard it felt like, an early aughts rave scene where you're kind of counterculture, you're outside of the norm, but everybody there is to have a good time. The vibe was going the whole time. It had something for everybody. Like, it was amazing just to walk around and take it all in and see just the extravagance that some of these other creators and other genres of games have out there for them.
Yes, it was awesome to see. Definitely a spectacle. What about you, Darth Rictus?
So I'm a paper boomer. I remember the old Grand Prix where we would have, 1,000 people packed into a convention hall and it was madness, and it wasn't necessarily a great environment. It was, let's be honest, a little bit rank. You pack that many sweaty, heated, overweight bodies into one room, it's not going to smell good. It just never did. This was surprising. It was wildly above my expectation. These DreamHack events, they were well ventilated. Thank you. They had industrial bathrooms. Thank you. They had healthy food options. Didn't expect any of that. And they had all the stuff you could do if your main event, you were like boom bust on it. They were like, it's fine. Here's side drafts. Here's side this. Here's side that. You don't want to play Magic? Here's like 80 esports and people who are trying to push new games, new ideas out. They're there. They have booths. You can talk to a ton of people. It was wild. It was a great experience.
Really awesome to hear. Yeah, I didn't know exactly how you were gonna feel coming out of that, it being such a big mixed event, but I'm really glad you had a good time. Uh, Something else I'd really like to bring up is the community itself. Some of the things I saw there. I saw Magic Kid's booth for the first time. I'd heard about it, at previous MTG conventions, but I saw it getting manned by content creators. We ran across Carlo Favretto, who is already competing and in the midst of playing a variety of formats to try to get a lot of tickets. And if you guys don't know, that's a an arena creator from Team Magic Jank. Jaffer was there. We ran into MTG Nerd Girl, but I think the highlight was running into Fire Shoes. Truly, it was a thing to behold, seeing people I'd only previously seen on social media, only seen on Twitter or through Twitch. Seeing them live, it was surreal for me. But I want to ask Darth Rictus because he has some experience in particular with Fire Shoes. Fire Shoes really made a name for himself in the MTG community online through social media. Tell the folks at home who don't know about him, our YouTube audience and our Spotify audience, what he's known for and what he's like in person.
So I've known Fire Shoes for a very long time. We live very close by to each other, and he has been the cornerstone of the Iowa competitive community, really the Midwest competitive community for a long time. And what he did that nobody else was willing to do is he sat down and said, okay, week by week, I'm going to put out a list of the competitive events, their addresses, when they fire, what the format is, like all of the details. And he put them in a list so that anybody who wanted to compete could just go to the list. Because before that, you were like, okay, I got to follow like 300 different stores to figure out which one has which event on which weekend. It was a nightmare. And once he got a rep for doing that, the stores started just going to him and saying, okay, you just advertise our event. And, he'd get some free entries here and there. But honestly, I think store owners in the Midwest in particular owe him a marketing debt, given how much revenue he's brought them over the years. I mean, I will say this, the Midwest competitive scene would not be what it is without him. It wouldn't even be close. We would not be having people who are pro tour champions, hashtag Wyatt Darby. We wouldn't have had the stomping grounds of Jerry Thompson back when he was a young Magic player, and a bunch of other players that have made it all the way to the top ranks of the Pro Tour. In part, owe that to the fact that Fire Shoes was there putting in the work, grinding it out, and saying, hey, what can I do to help the community? And he has done that for decades now. The man is amazing. Huge fan. And by the way, when I showed up, he was there to lend me like one deck, and like half of one deck is what he had for me. And I was going to grab the rest from other people. And I showed up and I'm like, okay, I don't have all of Boros Convoke. I have most of it. And he's like, I'm not going to play it. Here's a fully foiled version of it. Just take it. I don't know if you've ever had somebody who just like, hey, here's like $2,000. I trust you. That's wild. And that's what Fire Shoes is like. That is the level of trust. That is how amazing he is as a person. So thank you, Fire Shoes, for everything you do. Believe me, we love you. We appreciate you.
Yes, yes. That's really what I mean. Everything aside from the man, the myth, the legend, and the aura he has, just he's a kind dude. And meeting him in person, seeing him do that, that was what pushed me back. What astounded me. Is there anyone else you want to mention that you ran into?
I mean, I ran into the entire MTG Iowa community that was, the grinders, the people who have been in and out of the Pro Tour for the last decade. They were there in force, they were competing, and I haven't played Paper Magic competitively in quite some time. So it was wild. It felt like coming home. Like I got to see all these people who are now grown-ups. Now they have, maybe spouses, maybe kids, and they're there because it's their free weekend, but like they're still grinders. They still have love for the game, and you get to see the support, the love, that joy of the competition. I'm checking in with them between rounds and just the highs and lows. Like, who'd you win against? What'd you beat? What'd you get beat by? It's an electric atmosphere. I love that atmosphere. That's why I played competitive Magic in paper for so many years, and why I'm looking forward to getting back to it.
That's exciting. That's exciting to hear too. From paper boomers yourself. That's really good to hear. The environment felt that way. That's really cool. What about you, Griffin Rider? Who did you meet up with? What was it like seeing folks in person?
After spending the last year or so hitting up the convention scene, it's kind of like the best part of the Cleveland show theme song. There's old friends, there's new friends, and there's even a bear. And you know what? I'll let the audience at home decide who the bear is. But you know what? Overall, as great as DreamHack was and seeing everybody, the best part was getting to spend the weekend with my team and finally getting to play together and rock out some testing and do the team shit.
I know, it was refreshing. It really was. Someone else that, speaking of teammates, we all got to meet. The fourth member of the bunch, so to speak, was Eru Dabo. It was really cool to be able to kick back with him. Really, at the end of the day, he was a really cool guy to hang out with. And man, I can't wait to do this again and see him again. Hopefully, we can bring him on to talk a little bit about this. But I know I had a good time hanging out with him, meeting him and Lady P in person. They're really cool people.
Yeah. Honestly, so the infamous Dabo Made Me Do It, aka Pear Dabo, was present with Lady Dabo, two of the kindest people you'll ever meet. And I mean, honestly, all of us a year ago, strangers on the internet, barely knew each other, had heard of each other maybe tangentially through other sources, right? And we're sitting at this, Airbnb, all of us just like, we're a team. We're going to do this. This is our bonding weekend. We'll see how it goes. We've never met in person. And how many strangers from the internet do you know that drive 6 hours out of their way after an event and spend the entirety of it talking to you about, life, love, world at large? Like that was Dabo. That was Lady Dabo. It's one of the reasons I love this team, and I can't wait to go back and do this all again in 2024. Because, man, that was again one of the best weekends in 2023 for me. Was doing all the team stuff with you guys, having a great time.
Hell yeah, and I'm excited about the fact that it's going to be slightly earlier. It's going to be in October next year if we decide to do Atlanta again. So maybe it won't be as frigid. Probably go outside a little bit more.
I mean, I'm coming out of Iowa. That was warm as hell for me.
I forget. Oh man. We did get to take some really great pics, some of which, may come up on the screen for those of you watching on YouTube. I want to ask both of you, what did you think of the uniforms? I thought they were awesome. The uniforms designed by ICPJs. What did you think of seeing them in person?
I'll be honest. When I saw the screenshots, I was worried. I was really worried. I looked at it. I'm like, oh fuck, we're gonna have like a bowling league version. Like maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I was nervous, and ICPJs just came through, and I love these. I'm wearing it right now. You know what I mean? Like best jersey I've worn in my lifetime. And I used to have a new one every year when I played competitive basketball as a kid. And this is
Oh
still the
shit.
favorite one I've ever gotten.
That's
So props
awesome.
props to ICPJs. You knocked it out of the park. Love it.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, props to ICPJs as always. Literally carrying the flag over the course of that DreamHack weekend.
Literally.
Check the photos. There is a flag on ICPJ's back for at least most of that weekend, and it is awesome.
Oh man, but I do want to spend some time before we go and put the kibosh on this episode. Uh, I want to put in just at least a little bit on an ongoing discussion that we tend to have on this channel. Whenever I could squeeze this into a weekly topic, I try to. If you've noticed, um, but regarding the health of Magic and its particular formats, and gentlemen, it's no secret, Standard needs help when it comes to paper Magic. So, in your opinion, here's the big question. All right, the $1,000,000 question we're going to have to answer over 2024. In your opinion, will the Standard RCQ season revive the format? I want to begin with Griffin Rider.
I really hope so. I haven't seen any major standard events fire yet, so obviously I'm a little worried. But when you're in a room with 1,300 people competing, it's hard to not get excited and not feel like that can't happen for standard just as easily as it does for pioneer or modern. I mean, we we just have to keep kicking the door in and saying, "This is our format. Let's play it."
Yeah, the good news is, and I have the dates up on the screen for those of you at home watching on YouTube. They're supposed to fire, I believe, when the Karloff Manor releases on February 9th is when that begins, at least with the Friday Night Magics, all the way through February and all the way through until the end of March. I know they've been given a choice of doing limited or standard, so we'll see how many limiteds, how many standards, what the ratio there is. I'm hoping a lot of standard because I built Boros aggro and I'm getting ready. What's your take on this question? Is it going to save standard as the flagship, not just save standard, but make it the flagship format again? Sir Ginger, what do you think?
So I think it's a tough nut to crack, right? And part of this is that Wizards has never supported paper with Arena simultaneously. Like they've never made it like buy a pack in paper, scan it into your Arena account. And with Arena being roughly a quarter of the price of paper and no method to shift between the two, that makes it difficult. And you also have to remember like paper, I love paper. It has issues with competitive play. There is going to be cheating. There's going to be missed triggers. There's going to be a hefty time commitment. We're going to need transportation. You're going to need food. It's a lot, right? And back in the day, they had a lot of ways to support that, and a big part of it was FNM. It wasn't even the competitive circuit. It was saying, if you go to FNMs, we will mail you Cryptic Command textless foils, Damnation textless foils, Lightning Bolt textless foil. Like you will get staples that are textless foil and worth money. And to be fair, it cost them pennies to do it, but it provided such value that I went to every single FNM for like 3 years because like I wanted all of it, and I went to all the competitive events because those would also give you ways in. And so they had a really, really strong system back then. And if FNM isn't something that's firing for standard regularly, I think that really inhibits your ability to fire these competitive events because you don't have the card pool necessarily. You're not prepping with that card pool week in and week out and trading with other people, and the community's not necessarily gathering to allow that to happen, which means you're buying from vendors on site, hopefully, if they have it, and at local stores, that's not a guarantee. So I don't know if it's going to revive it. I do know it's a step in the right direction, and I'm going to support that regardless, even if the effort, in my opinion, from Wizards is a little bit lackluster on this one because they know it would cost them pennies to print cards that people have massive FOMO about and get back into the game just to get those foils. And instead, those foils have gotten relegated over to like secret layers instead of just being prizes for being part of the community, essentially. So I'm
Yeah.
curious to see where it goes.
To what you said, 2 points. First is the cannibalization that Wizards has done on its own LGS scene, right? Just secret layers. I've heard it time and time again, especially when they first started. Were criticized for being like Wizards trying to sell singles over the LGS and compete with it. So in a way, sort of cannibalizing its own product and its own product market. And then secondly, I remember the vendors, right? I was able to order online ahead of time. I arrived at DreamHack, picked up my cards, but the issue was there were a ton of uncommons. The vendors weren't even carrying. They just carry the rares that they can sell. Uncommons just, not making them too much money. So if you didn't have the uncommons, you had to text and check your Discord and see if anybody around you had them. That was a common situation over DreamHack, I remember.
An uncommon situation, as it were. Yes.
See what you did there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting though, and I think the problem is right now we have this issue where these major corporations are looking at the next quarter and they're not looking at the overall picture. You know what I mean? And until they're willing to look at the overall picture and see what it would take for a long-term profit as opposed to the next 3 months, we're going to see a lot more of these products get pushed, and the experiments will be how fast can we make money, not is it benefiting the game. So I'm curious to see if we transition to better leadership on that front, because what we've
Yeah.
seen for a while now has not been fantastic. But it could happen. All it takes is one person at the top saying, "You know what? I care about the game. I want it to go a certain way. Like I want to revive this or I want to push it that way." And I'm hoping it happens, honestly.
What worries me is that now there are going to be more higher ratio of Hasbro to Wizards people in the room making those decisions from now on.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's not great. It's part of why Johnny Magic tried to take Wizards away from Hasbro at one point, and oh man, I
Oh,
was so hopeful. I wanted Finkel to have that company so bad. I'm like, if Finkel gets WotC, we're in for a golden era of Magic.
you got to tell that
And
story one of these days on the podcast.
yeah, once I have all the facts in front of me and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna hackney it together
No,
right
no,
now,
no.
but yes,
It's a good
absolutely.
story. It deserves
It
to be told.
is. It is. It's a hero's journey in my opinion, and it didn't pan out, but it was one hell of an attempt. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see where it goes. I agree that they're making some strides here by trying to bring back standard though. So I'm
Yeah.
very curious to see if they can do that, or if they fail, if they learn from that failure and make alterations quickly.
Mhm.
So
We'll see.
either's acceptable.
We will definitely have to see the outcomes of Wizards' efforts to revive Standard, not just revive Standard, but revive it as a flagship format. When Karlov Manor releases on February 9th, kicking off the season of Standard, right? Through FNM, Store Championships, qualifiers, all culminating in the RCQ at DreamHack Dallas later this year, where Standard will be the format of choice. Hopefully one of us, hopefully all of us can get in and rep the rebellion. That's really my hope. And here's the dates for all of you at home up on the screen now. Well, that's really all the time we have for today. I'm astounded by my experiences at DreamHack. You guys were amazing to be around, to hang out with. I want to thank each of our guests, Griffin Ryder, Darth Rictus. You guys are phenomenal teammates. I really want to thank you both for a great time at DreamHack, for being on this team with me, for making it what it is. Frankly, I couldn't do any of this, any of the content, any of what I do without y'all. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Max. And honestly, Griff, Dabo, everybody watching, we do this because it's community. We do this because the gathering is the most important part of Magic. And that's what we're here for. And for those of you watching at home, wanting to be a part of the team, wanting to be a part of this, we have Discord links. We have trials. You can get in to become a guild mage with hard work. And it's what Dabo did. It's what Griff did. And it's been great. It's been great. We don't like having people in here who aren't awesome, and so far we are batting 100 on having amazing people. So I'm loving it. Stop by. We have a Discord.
Yep. And at the risk of sounding absolutely cliche here, what we've done, what this last year has been, it's been absolutely magical.
Love the way you did that. Dad joke to end it. Hell yeah.
ICP just would be proud. All right. All right, you heard from the best. Now, come be a part of the rest. For real, though, come check us out. We'll be back next week with another episode. We're actually going to be introducing a new segment. So, all of you at home, be sure to leave us a comment on the YouTube version of this video. Send in your comments and questions to the comment section, either here or hit us up on social media, especially X. You can send us a DM to the official MTG or Rebellion account there, or leave us a question in our Discord server. Invite in the description along with our other links. Or you could even go to something that I had to tell Athena the Bun this the other day, that this existed. She was like, I didn't know that existed, but mtgrebellion.com. I'm gonna start pushing that at the end of every video.
We have a website.
We do have a website.
We've had it for a while. It's fantastic. ICPJ's put it together, and it is gorgeous.
Yes, and hopefully it'll become the home of more things to come. I don't want to make any announcements yet, but more news to come throughout the year. All right.
Fair.
Well, until next time, everybody, untap, upkeep, resist.
Resist.
Resist.